Accidents are unpredictable events that can have life-altering consequences. However, sometimes fate intervenes, and individuals experience close-call accidents, narrowly escaping potential disaster. These heart-stopping instances serve as powerful reminders of the fragility of life and the importance of safety measures. Today, we're taking a look at some of the most dangerous close calls in history. Before we jump into the video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe to the channel for more. And if you never want to miss a new upload, be sure to ring the bell icon to be notified each time we post. Number 10. US Airways Flight 1549. Flight 1549, famously known as the Miracle on the Hudson, was a remarkable aviation incident that happened on January 15, 2009. The flight was a US Airways Airbus A320 departing from LaGuardia Airport in New York City en route to Charlotte, North Carolina. Just moments after takeoff, the aircraft encountered a massive flock of geese, which caused both engines to fail. With no power and limited options for safe landing spots, Captain Chelsea Sully Sullenberger and First Officer Jeffrey Skiles faced a daunting and life-threatening situation. Making a quick and decisive decision, Captain Sullenberger took control of the dire situation and realized that a return to LaGuardia Airport or diverting to a nearby airport was not feasible. Instead, he chose an extraordinary course of action, landing the disabled aircraft on the frigid waters of the Hudson River. In an impressive display of skill, composure, and professionalism, Captain Sullenberger expertly glided the plane towards the river's surface. His precise landing allowed the aircraft to remain relatively intact upon impact, preventing a catastrophic crash. Thanks to the quick response of the flight crew, the cabin crew, and the passengers' cooperation, the evacuation process commenced swiftly, saving all 155 occupants on board. The incident became a shining example of the importance of proper aviation training and teamwork. Number 9. The Challenger Disaster. The Challenger disaster was a devastating event that occurred on January 28, 1986, when the Space Shuttle Challenger disintegrated just 73 seconds after liftoff. The mission, designated STS-15L, was the 25th flight of NASA's Space Shuttle program and was meant to carry out various scientific experiments and deploy a communication satellite. Tragically, the disaster resulted in the loss of all 7 crew members on board, including the first civilian astronaut, Krista McAuliffe, who was a teacher selected to participate in NASA's Teacher in Space program. The disaster was caused by the failure of an O-ring seal in the right solid rocket booster, which allowed hot gases to escape and compromise the integrity of the external fuel tank. The O-ring issue had been a concern before the launch, but NASA managers, under pressure to meet schedules and public expectations, made the fateful decision to proceed with the launch despite the cold weather conditions on that fateful morning. Number 8. Chernobyl Nuclear Disaster. The Chernobyl nuclear disaster, which occurred on April 26, 1986 in the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, Ukraine, stands as one of the most catastrophic nuclear accidents in history. The incident took place during a late-night safety test in reactor number 4, when a combination of design flaws and human error led to a series of explosions and a fire that released a massive amount of radioactive material into the atmosphere. The explosion not only resulted in the immediate deaths of plant workers, but also led to the release of significant radioactive fallout over a vast area, affecting millions of people in Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, and other parts of Europe. The severity of the disaster was further exacerbated by the Soviet government's initial attempts to downplay and cover up the extent of the accident, delaying vital evacuation and safety measures for nearby residents. Thankfully, the courageous actions of the plant's employees and emergency responders prevented an even greater catastrophe by containing the radiation and preventing the meltdown from spreading to other reactors. Think that's bad? Wait till you see what we have lined up for you at our number 1 spot. Coming soon. Number 7. The Halifax Explosion. The Halifax Explosion was a devastating maritime disaster that occurred on December 6, 1917 in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. During the height of World War I, 2 ships collided in the Halifax harbour. the SS Mont Blanc, a French cargo ship carrying a deadly payload of explosives, and the SS Imo, a Norwegian vessel. The collision ignited a massive fire on the Mont Blanc, and after burning for approximately 20 minutes, the ship exploded with a force equivalent to around 2.9 kilotons of TNT. The explosion unleashed a shockwave that devastated a significant portion of Halifax, flattening buildings, shattering windows, and causing widespread destruction. The explosion resulted in the deaths of about 2,000 people and injured over 9,000 others. It also left many survivors with lifelong physical and emotional scars. The disaster is considered one of the largest man-made non-nuclear explosions in history. A close call aspect of the Halifax explosion comes from stories of individuals who narrowly escaped death or injury due to unforeseen circumstances. Some survivors were shielded from the full force of the blast by the layout of their surroundings or sheer luck, while others managed to find safety in the aftermath of the explosion despite the chaos and devastation. Number 6. The Tenerife Airport Disaster. The Tenerife Airport disaster, which occurred on March 27, 1977 at Los Rodeos Airport in Tenerife, Canary Islands, is considered the deadliest aviation accident in history. The incident involved the collision of two Boeing 747 aircraft, KLM Flight 4805 and Pan Am Flight 1736. The disaster was triggered by a series of unfortunate events, including heavy fog that reduced visibility at the airport. As both planes were diverted to Tenerife due to a terrorist bombing at Gran Canaria Airport, the small airport became overcrowded with aircraft. When the fog lifted momentarily, the air traffic controllers attempted to clear the runway for takeoff. Miscommunication between the control tower and the flight crews led to a tragic misunderstanding. The KLM captain, believing he had clearance, began to take off while the Pan Am plane was still on the runway. Despite frantic efforts to abort the takeoff, the KLM aircraft collided with the Pan Am plane, resulting in a catastrophic explosion and fire. The disaster claimed the lives of 583 people, though 61 lucky survivors managed to escape with their lives. Number 5. The Great Molasses Flood. The Great Molasses Flood, also known as the Boston Molasses Disaster, occurred on January 15, 1919 in the North End neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts. The disaster resulted from the rupture of a massive storage tank containing over 2 million gallons of molasses. When the tank ruptured, an immense wave of molasses traveling at speeds of up to 35 miles per hour flooded the streets of the North End, causing widespread destruction. Buildings were demolished, vehicles were swept away, and people and animals were caught in the sticky and treacherous tide. The disaster claimed the lives of 21 people and injured over 150 others. The molasses flood left a trail of devastation and destruction, which took significant time and effort to clean up. Many individuals narrowly escaped the catastrophe. Some managed to cling to debris or were rescued by bystanders, while others were fortunate enough to be outside the direct path of the molasses wave. Those who survived the incident recounted harrowing tales of the chaos and the powerful force of the molasses. If you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel for more. Number 4. Air Canada Flight 143. Air Canada Flight 143, known as the Gimli Glider, was a gripping aviation incident that occurred on July 23, 1983. The flight was a Boeing 767 traveling from Montreal to Edmonton. Mid-flight, the aircraft encountered a serious issue when both engines failed due to a metric imperial conversion error. The crew discovered that they had miscalculated the fuel requirements, leaving the plane with no engines running at an altitude of 41,000 feet. In a remarkable display of skill and quick thinking, the pilots managed to glide the aircraft safely towards an abandoned airfield in Gimli, Manitoba. The landing was unconventional as the pilots had to navigate the powerless plane with limited controls and execute a landing on a runway partly occupied by a racetrack event. Despite the challenges, the crew successfully landed the aircraft with no casualties among the 69 passengers and crew on board. The incident earned the nickname Gimli Glider due to the glider maneuver and the location of the emergency landing. Number 3. The miraculous survival of Julian Kopa. On December 24, 1971, 17-year-old Julian was traveling with her mother on a flight over the Peruvian Amazon when their plane was struck by lightning during a severe thunderstorm. The impact caused the aircraft to disintegrate mid-air, and Julian found herself free-falling from over 10,000 feet above the dense rainforest. Despite the terrifying ordeal, Julian miraculously survived the fall with only minor injuries. Determined to survive, Julian drew on her knowledge of survival skills, which she had learned from her biologist parents who had conducted research in the Amazon. She navigated the treacherous terrain, dealing with injuries, mosquitoes, and constant threat of predators. After an arduous 11-day trek, Julian stumbled upon a small stream, which eventually led her to a group of local loggers who provided her with shelter and aid. They helped coordinate her rescue, leading to her eventual reunion with her father, who had been searching for her. Number 2. The Bhopal Gas Tragedy. The Bhopal Gas Tragedy, also known as the Bhopal Disaster, is one of the world's most horrific industrial disasters. It occurred on the night of December 2nd to 3rd, 1984 in Bhopal, India. A pesticide plant owned by Union Carbide India Limited, UCIL, released a deadly cloud of methyl isocyanate, MIC gas, exposing thousands of people in the surrounding areas. The toxic gas cloud resulted from a series of safety lapses and maintenance issues at the plant. The gas leak led to immediate deaths and injuries, with thousands of people suffering from respiratory distress and other severe health issues. The exact death toll remains a matter of debate, but estimates suggest that thousands lost their lives in the immediate aftermath, and many more died due to long-term health effects in the years that followed. The Bhopal Gas Tragedy has had a lasting impact on the survivors and the affected communities. It sparked outrage and protests against Union Carbide and highlighted the need for stricter industrial safety regulations. The disaster aftermath has been marked by legal battles and ongoing struggles for justice and compensation for the victims. Number 1. 1993 World Trade Center bombing. The 1993 World Trade Center bombing was a chilling terrorist attack that occurred on February 26, 1993 in New York City. Terrorists detonated a truck bomb in the underground parking garage of the North Tower of the World Trade Center. The explosion caused significant damage to the building, creating a crater several stories deep and severely impacting structural integrity. The attack resulted in the deaths of 6 people and injured over 1,000 others. While it was a devastating incident, it could have been much worse. The intention of the terrorists was to bring down both towers entirely, which would have caused a catastrophic loss of life and immense destruction. However, the tower's structural integrity and the quick response of the emergency personnel prevented the terrorists' full objective from being realized. Thanks for watching, folks. Have you ever experienced a close call accident before? Let us know in the comments below. And remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more. Until next time.